Enter, rejoice, and so give. Enter, rejoice, and so give. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and so give. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and so give.
My name is Dennis, and I'm honored to serve as the worship associate for this service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Charlotte County, also known as UUFCC. You are welcome here, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter your background. You are welcome here to join us as we proclaim worth in our spiritual journeys. You are welcome to join us as we share songs that uplift our very beings. You are welcome to join us in community as we learn and live and love together. As you have heard, we start each service each week by singing an invitation to gather together, even as we are scattered in many, many different places. And whether our sacred space be virtual or live, we are glad that you've decided to spend time with us. I wish to express my gratitude this morning to Corey and Tom. They're taking care of the technology. Also the building and grounds crew that care for this property and this sacred space. I'd also like to especially thank the summer singers who are we're without a pianist today. Janet is ill, and so when we sing, when these folks get up and turn around and sing, we'll give you a starting note, and then we're going to sing a cappella. Yes, so sing out, don't be afraid. Finally, I'd like to thank the members of the membership committee and the team of greeters and our hospitality committee. And a special thanks to John L. for heading up the snacks and coffee after the service.
Trudy.
And Trudy's doing it today. True? Yes. This service is being broadcast live on YouTube. Consequently, to protect people's privacy, it's our practice to use first names when necessary, last initials. The YouTube recording will also be available on the UUFCC YouTube channel after the service. It's been my experience that often they're not available till Monday. I would like to remind you of a couple simple procedures that will help our service and broadcast run smoothly. Please silence your phones. For those who are with us virtually, you may wish to have a chalice or a candle available for our chalice lighting ritual. For those in the sanctuary, we are still asking everyone to wear masks inside. When the service is over, please exit through this front door to my right. For those who need a smooth surface to exit, feel free to use the front lobby doors. We will gather on the patio for our social time after the service. Coffee and snacks will be served by our weekly volunteers. You can sign up on the bulletin board in the social hall to help out following future services. If you're new here, would you stand or wave and state your first name and where you're from? Okay. If you're viewing this service on YouTube and are unfamiliar with the fellowship, but would like to learn more, email our administrator, Mary Jane, at office@UUFCC, or visit the website at uufcc.org. And wherever you are, we're glad you've chosen to spend your time with us. We will now open this sacred space by turning our attention to the chalice. I have chosen words found in the Soul Matters materials for September. The theme this month is the path of belonging. The chalice lighting words were written by Dr. Julia Corbett-Heimer. We light this flame, the bright warmth of belonging, of companionship, of interdependence. We light this flame to remind us we belong to the earth, our sacred home. We light this flame to remind us we belong to human families, biological or chosen, and to the entire human family. We light this flame to celebrate this community here gathered, to which we belong, which claims our loyalty and affection. We light this flame to call to mind the holy, as known by many names and by none, to which we also belong, which holds and sustains us. We light this flame in affirmation of the responsibility we share to make our communities ones where all belong. And now Laura L. will light our chalice here in the sanctuary. And will you please join me in reciting our affirmation? And shortly there will be time for folks at home to light their chalices or candles. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our aspiration, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. I invite you now to light your chalices or candles at home. All right, our first challenge today. We're going to sing I Got Peace Like a River. It's in the gray hymnal, and it's number 100.
I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain in my soul.
I apologize, I forgot to tell you that we were only doing verses 1, 2, 3, and 6. And now we have a very special occasion. It's a ceremony of membership and bringing a new member into our community. So Jackie, will you? It is always a joy to recognize and introduce our newest member. While anyone can become a member at any time, this ceremony is our way of formally and publicly welcoming them. I will ask our membership co-chair, Jackie Williamson, to come forward. And Linda, please join us here in front of the sanctuary.
It is a joy to welcome you as a member into our community. Becoming a member of this congregation is an important step, but is only a first step. I encourage you to grow your spiritual life and to explore and share your unique gifts with us as you grow. Linda, will you journey together with us, sharing the joys and responsibilities as a member of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Charlotte County? If you agree, please say, "I will."
I will.
It's a good thing. I wonder what she would say if she didn't.
Members of the congregation, will you reach out to Linda in friendship, including her in our activities and fellowship? Will you walk with her on her spiritual and personal journey? Will you be open to her unique gifts and life perspectives? Will you extend a warm welcome to Linda, remembering that you were once new here as well? If so, say, "I will."
Yes, what, Linda? Your turn. Linda, we all join our strengths, talents, and commitment with yours. You are now officially part of our community, and we are a part of your journey. Keep in mind that ours is a shared ministry to help each other find meaning in life and to build a just and compassionate world, willing to fulfill the vision and vision of this fellowship. Let's give our new member, Linda, a round of applause. She's fantastic.
Oh, thank you so much.
I also might mention that Linda is, to a great extent, responsible for our gardening shed being so clean and organized that I'm thinking of having a tea party there. And she already feels like an old member because she's lost her sunglasses and her red drinking glass. So,
Yay, Linda.
we have a long tradition at UUFCC of sharing our joys, sorrows, and life milestones by entering them into the Book of Life. These messages can be written in the Red Book, which you can find at the back of the sanctuary. Subi, will you please bring up the Red Book? Those who are at home are welcome to email entries to the Book of Life at UUFCC. Messages should be sent no later than the Saturday prior to the service. And all entries will be read by the worship associate during the Sunday morning service. After that, emailed messages will be entered into the actual Red Book. After I've completed reading, we will enter into a moment of silence, followed by our hymn, Spirit of Life. Let's see, I have two here, I think. Laurie and I celebrated 37 years of love on September 5th. That's from Jackie. Thoughts and prayers for Janet M., our volunteer pianist, who is continuing to have severe head and neck pain from a car accident. This one's from Alan. His dad is back in the hospital with a broken back. He caught COVID there. Cousin Don broke back in 4 places. Shouldn't go to those places in Connecticut. Bedridden at home. Additionally, I have a email. Excuse me 1 second. Sorry. I will find it. Here it is. This is from Lisa Roberts. I will be out for a little while. My husband Alan is having his knee replaced on Monday. Please keep us in your thoughts. And now we will have silence. Singing Spirit of Life. We're going to sing Be Thou With Us. It's in the Teal hymnal, and it's 1039.
Be thou with us now and always, now and always. Blessed be. I thought, the privilege of introducing our guest speaker today. Her name is Kira-Lynn Ferberber, and after I asked her for information, she said, "Oh, I have it on the slide." So if you will please come up and
Looks like it's on, right?
Is that on?
Oh, it is on. Oh, it is. All right, perfect. Yeah, if you could start the slides whenever you get a chance. Thank you for having me in today. So my name is Kira, and I am from Planned Parenthood, specifically Planned Parenthood of Southwest Central Florida, so which includes where I live in Sarasota and where we are right now. I've only been with Planned Parenthood formally for a short time, fewer than 2 months. But I've worked with Planned Parenthood over the years informally and in a volunteer capacity. And when they said that someone is supposed to come talk to a UU congregation, I was like, I'll do it, even though I'm new. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, but mostly a lot about Planned Parenthood. For those of you that don't know, I know some people in this room know about Planned Parenthood, are already supporters. So my name is Kira, and when we say Planned Parenthood of Southwest and Central Florida, that's what we call the affiliate where I work. There's another Planned Parenthood that covers the very south and northern parts of Florida, and then many in many other states across the country. So I've been an educator for a long time. I'm an educator with Planned Parenthood, so I'm new there, but not new to being an educator. Previously to this, I was a violence prevention educator for the Rape Crisis Center and Domestic Violence Agency for Sarasota County. And that is my first job I had in America. I moved to this country 3.5 years ago, and immediately before I left Canada, I was a coordinator of a project called New Ways for a United Church of Canada. They're called First United. And I know we don't have United Church of Canada here, but in Ottawa, where I was working on emerging ministries, we have United Church of Canada and the Unitarians, and a lot of movement between the two. So this is not my first Unitarian Fellowship service, so I'm really excited to be here. In my whole other life that I have, I'm a touring artist, I'm a rapper, and I worked a lot in sexual violence prevention and safety at music festivals, events, venues like that, talking about consent, talking about looking out for others that are around us. So that is sort of the common thread through my life in ministry work, my life as a rapper, and my life as a violence prevention educator. A lot of stuff about looking out for one another. So that's a bit about who I am. If you can go ahead to the next slide, please. I'm going to talk mostly about Planned Parenthood. So I know there's different things that people think of when they think of Planned Parenthood, and usually it's not the whole picture, which why would it be? But just so that you all know, we operate on what we call a three-legged stool. So we provide medical services, which is a lot of what people think of when they think of us. We do advocacy work, which is sometimes what people think of. But we also do education. So that's my role. Sometimes called a sex educator, though we define that very broadly about all kinds of things. Inclusivity, healthy relationships, equity, all kinds of things. So if you weren't familiar with the fact that we operate in those three ways, I'll get into more detail. If you could go to the next slide, please. So we do offer medical services, which people know about. Still in Florida, currently we do offer abortion services, birth control, emergency contraception, all kinds of life-saving cancer screenings. In Sarasota and in this affiliate, we offer transgender care. So we offer gender-affirming hormone therapy for all kinds of patients, transgender people, people in menopause. People take gender-affirming hormones for all kinds of reasons. We help people who are trying to manage a miscarriage safely. We offer people the life-saving drug PrEP, which didn't exist when we first discovered HIV/AIDS and now does and is. I call it a miracle, but it's also science. Pregnancy testing, we do a lot of pregnancy testing. We do a lot of testing for people who think they might be pregnant, are trying to confirm something that they suspect, and then we help them with all their options. So that would be parenting, abortion care, or adoption. And we help people with whatever choices they're hoping to make. We do a lot of HIV and STD or STI testing and treatment, UTI testing and treatment, as well as a lot of people's just general medical care. What you might hear as a well woman visit or annual, vasectomies, all kinds of other forms of birth control. So those are some of the medical services. Sometimes people think of one or two of these things, and they don't realize how many people are getting their primary care at a Planned Parenthood, like the medical center where I work, one south of here, one's north of here. If you could go to the next slide, please. So one of the things that people think of course, is women. Nationally, 1 in 5 women have used the medical services of a Planned Parenthood near them. And we have a really proud tradition in women's health, but it's important to know that we also serve other people. If you could go to the next slide. So we do a lot of care for men, for people that don't identify as a man or a woman, for people that are transgender and non-binary. And we provide that trans-specific care, but also other care to people that just happen to be trans, but it can be difficult sometimes to access that from other care providers that don't really specialize in trans inclusivity. So I'm really, really proud of that. I'm really proud of what happens at a Planned Parenthood in Florida when we have so much external stuff happening that affects people who are trans, but also their families, their loved ones, their children, their parents. It's really great to work at a place in Central Florida that is welcoming, inclusive, validating. And what we say is that transgender people are not just like tolerated or accepted, but they're expected. And they feel expected, hopefully, when they come in. Yes. If you could go to the next slide, please. So this is your local Planned Parenthood affiliate. When we say Southwest and Central Florida, this is what we mean. So when we get all of us together, we have over 200 staff. I work at the head office in Sarasota, but there are people south and north of me doing this great work. We also offer virtual health appointments, which everyone doesn't always know. So while you can see those health centers that are those navy blue stars on there, we provide services to people all over this map, and some people through virtual healthcare. If you could go to the next slide, please. We also contribute a lot to research, and it's not necessarily in a way that affects the patient experience, but it has to do with the ways that we take medical samples, and it's been a long time that medical research has excluded women, and specifically pregnant women, or menopausal women, or different groups that are not studied as much, how disease progression takes place, how different medications are tolerated. And so we're really proud to be contributing to all kinds of research out there, including like cancer research, treatment, testing, screening research, all of that kind of thing. And then of course, many people are doing placements and learning how to be physicians and other medical staff in a Planned Parenthood facility, which is great too. Next slide, please. So the three-legged stool, I'm talking only about one so far, which is the medical services that we offer, but we also offer education. So this is the affiliates education team. So I am up there and I cover Sarasota and Manatee counties, but we have educators that cover all of the counties. And we basically go anywhere they'll have us. So Unitarian Universalist Fellowship Service, schools if they will have us, summer camps, detention centers, places with adults, places with youth, places with both, families, parents. So when we say sex education, we're not only talking about young people, though we love to give young people age-appropriate, relevant information, whether it's young children and it's about their own body, or we're talking about high school and college and relationships. It's also adults that need this information. Sometimes it's parents and other caretakers. Sometimes it's people who need this information for themselves. And there is a real lack of comprehensive sex education in our culture. There's not a lack of information that there's something going on out there, but it's really not always medically guided, based on research, based on what's relevant, age appropriate, accurate, and what we call values neutral education, which means that we're not in the business of telling people what they should do other than showing each other respect, respecting each other's boundaries. We're just there to give them relevant information. If you could go to the next slide, please. So what that looks like, it could be talking to an after-school program. It could be working with our peer educators, which is a group of teenagers that are trained to provide medically accurate information to their peers. And it is not abstinence only, but I do want to note that it's very inclusive of abstinence. So sometimes abstinence only education, which is a common form of education in the schools, is seen as the opposite of comprehensive. It's really not. A comprehensive approach to sex education invites people to make healthy choices when and if they're choosing to have sex, but it's also about helping people refuse sexual activity if that's what they're looking to do. And I always find that people who aren't used to comprehensive sex education don't realize how inclusive of abstinence it is for people, that is their choice right now. We are there just to give the information and the support that young people need as they're learning about this stuff. Next slide, please. So one of the projects that we created in peer education, or really I should say the teenagers created, is a magazine called Naked Truth. I wanted to let you know about it because if you have young people in your lives, it's a great resource, but I also find it a great resource for people who aren't teenagers to read, because I learn a lot about what they're thinking. So it's available online, it's available in hard copy, I can get you some, but it's written entirely by young people in the Sarasota area, so high school, some college. And it's drawings, poems, essays, stories about issues that they've decided are important to share, about what's important to them. So that's just to give you a little peek into what we're doing with peer education. Next slide, please. One question I get a lot when I go out and represent Planned Parenthood is people ask me how they can get involved. So at our clinics, so north of here and south of here, we have clinics, and we're always looking for volunteers who want to provide a calm presence for patients coming and going from our health centers. People can get involved in canvassing, in tabling. People come out in demonstrations in support of Planned Parenthood, which helps others become aware of the issue. It's very encouraging to people that still are, that are working in the movement to see that public support. There is much more public support for Planned Parenthood in Florida than people might think there is. And sometimes that support is kind of whispered to us, but we know that it is out there. We know that by and large people support the work that we're doing, regardless of how it can sometimes feel. Next slide, please. And then, of course, a lot of the work that we do is made possible by donations. We have a variety of funding sources, but we are very grateful when donors donate money to us, support our events, buy tickets to our events. So you are part of helping keep us going with this generous choice you've made to take up a collection to share with us. I really, really appreciate not just the financial donation, but that you're all here with your time and have invited me to speak to you. It's very meaningful to us. Next slide, please. And then we do some advocacy. So we are mobilizing people to share their stories, to make policies more inclusive of more people, to talk to people in the community about how limits on reproductive care really affect the well-being of course, the potential patient, but families and communities beyond that. And a lot of that is also engaging young people who are maybe just getting involved in the political process, but are very passionate about inclusive reproductive health. And then do I have one more slide? Or am I at the, yeah, oh yeah, so I want to talk about the Unitarian Universalist history. That's right, this is because it's special slides just for you all. So we know that in Texas, when the Roe decision was made, it was made with a brief from the Unitarian Universalists contributing there in Dallas. There is such a long-standing tradition of Unitarians and other groups and other communities of faith and other community organizations publicly supporting the work of Planned Parenthood and individuals who use our services. If you can go ahead to the next slide. I just wanted to share that I know there's so many ways that we can make that visible and that we can make people feel less alone. If 1 in 5 women is accessing a Planned Parenthood for their health care, why is it not something that we feel? Why is it not something that's obvious to us? And well, it's not on any one individual patient to make that known. They have a right to their privacy and their health privacy. As strong communities that have other people shoulder to shoulder, we can sort of share that burden or that risk when we name our support for an organization like Planned Parenthood, because we're together. And so that is very destigmatizing. And on one hand, it's very, very brave. I wish that it was, taking place in more congregations and more community groups. But on the other hand, if we were all to share how we truly feel about an organization like Planned Parenthood, it wouldn't seem so brave. Because the truth is, it's not just 1 in 5 women that use our services. Everybody knows somebody whose life has been improved by a service at Planned Parenthood. And so I really commend Unitarians, but also others who aren't afraid or maybe are afraid and do it anyway, but make that support known, show that solidarity to people in their community. I think I've got 2 more slides here, just in my remaining minutes. So we know that this kind of support in a congregation can come from any level. This can be from our worship committee, this can be from individuals, and of course it can be from our church leadership. And then finally, if I can get to my last slide or second last slide, there are a lot of ways to think about, even though my name is written under sermon today on your bulletin, I'm not really giving a sermon. I can't be in the business of telling you how to carry out your faith or your beliefs. But what I will say is that I am in awe of the multitude of ways that people address reproductive care in a way that's not just in spite of their faith, but recognizing it as inclusive of their personal faith. And, you know, I have my own ways that my beliefs in healthcare coincide with my personal faith, and that's something that is up to each congregation and each individual to decide. But I just wanted to share some of the vibrant examples of ways that, you know, National Council of Jewish Women, people from other congregations, other faiths, have addressed that access to reproductive care is not just something that people believe in, even though they go to church or despite their belief that we are divine beings. But for many people, it is something that comes from that same source, out of whether it's respect, whether it's understanding justice, whatever your approach is that brings you to our shared commitment to access to reproductive health. So finally, if you can just go to my last slide, I just want to let you know that we are here to support you in any way we can help you. You are welcome to send me an email at any time. That is on my first day at Planned Parenthood, where I was excited to get my name tag. So, you know, in the short time, which is still very generous of you to provide us, I can't possibly answer every question that I know people might have. So I just wanted to let you know that that is a brief overview of what we're up to at Planned Parenthood. If you have questions, if you have someone in your life that you think we can help, if you want material for young people, for parents, please don't hesitate to email us. Please don't hesitate to call. You can find me, or you can find someone at another health center that's closer to you if that would work for you. But I just want to say thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you learned a little bit about Planned Parenthood.
Thank you very much, Kira-Lynn. Very informative. This is the second Sunday of the month, and it's been our tradition for a long, long time to have two offerings on the second Sunday. The first goes to the operating budget of this fellowship, and the second one goes to a charity that is chosen by our Social Justice Committee. Kira-Lynn's honorarium will be going to Planned Parenthood, and I believe, is it half of today's second helping will also go to Planned Parenthood. The other half will continue to support the three food pantries that we've been supporting since the beginning of COVID. So, in our tradition, congregations exist because of the generous support of members and friends. It is our privilege and our responsibility to ensure the health and future of this fellowship. To this end, your offerings to support the ministry of this fellowship, whether by pledge or donation, will be offered online. There's several ways you can give. You can drop your donations in the baskets that are coming forth. You can mail checks to the office or drop them in the mailbox, or call the office to make other arrangements. We're also equipped to accept donations through the Venmo app, and payments through this app should be made to UUFCC offering. You can also have your bank automatically send a check to the fellowship each month. Your generosity is always appreciated. And if you're with us for the first time, you don't feel obligated to give. Your presence is gift enough. Now we will receive the first offering. This one's for the operating budget. Our next hymn it's in the gray hymnal, and it's number 131, Love Will Guide Us.
Love will guide us, peace has guide us, hope is guide us, will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has guide us, hope inside us, will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
And now it's time to highlight UUFCC's special events and activities. Now, please remember, you hear this every week, but it's worth repeating. Read your weekly updates. They come out on Friday. It includes a calendar and links for connecting via Zoom or in person. If you would like to have fellowship events highlighted during the service, you can email the worship associates at bookoflife@uufcc.org. Today I have several announcements. If you are new to UU and would like to know more, or if you're interested in membership, please contact Jackie Williamson. We hope we'll have another group starting in the fall. Also, we have several tickets available for today's play. It's called Dead Men Cell Phone. It's at 2 p.m. These are extra tickets and they're free. And if you would like them, see Susie. Susie's sitting way in the back. Patrick, our own Patrick E. is in this production. The Lunch Bunch will meet at 12:30 on Tuesday, September 13th. They're going to go to Healthy Foe on Cochrane. It's across from the Publix. I also have there we go. Let's see. After the service at 11:45, the social justice group will meet. It's a hybrid. You can either Zoom in or attend in person. Let's see. In addition to regular classes, etc., there will be a board meeting this Thursday at 4. Again, please read the updates. Everything that you need to know is in there. And now I'll ask Laura to come back, and as she extinguishes the chalice, Remember that the light of hope, the fire of commitment, and the warmth of community will sustain and nurture you until we meet again. And now we will sing number, I believe this is incorrect in your,
118.
it's 118, not 100. And it's This Little Light of Mine, and you all know that, and please sing out loud and clap.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Not yet. I'm going to conclude this service with a benediction by Duke T. Gray. The blessing of truth be upon us, the power of love direct and sustain us, and may the peace of this community preserve our going out and our coming in from this time forth until we meet again. So go in peace and turn your phones back on.